Hello again. Welcome to Stuff and Nonsense, Journaling with Julie. Episode 4, Just My Cuppa. This week we're going to take a break, grab a cup of joe, wake up and smell the coffee, join the cafe society. It might just be your cup of tea. There's a spate of tea art and coffee art and even cocoa art. It seems that tea, coffee, and hot beverages inspire artists the world over. What's more, it has been thus for centuries. It's easy to find examples. Everything to do with having a cuppa makes its way into the minds and hearts of artists. They draw tea time, they paint tea ceremonies, they meet for cups of coffee, draw on the paper and styrofoam hot cups. There's even a thing for painting miniatures on tea bags, and they're beautiful. There are plenty of reasons tea time is a big deal with so many people. It's about clarity and order and beauty. It's about taking a break. It's about slowing yourself down and finding stillness. It's about sacredness, mindfulness, and thoughtfulness. It's about making everything just so. And it's about yummy hot drinks. So, think about it and set up your ritual. It positively affects your state of mind, and it just might be inspiring. I'm no exception. I've drawn teacups and tea sets before I even knew it was a thing. I have a funny little jug I found at Goodwill. It's an old thermos type, but it has an old-fashioned hinged flip lid like the metal teapots you find in like old-fashioned diners. It has a lovely shaped handle, and it's got brown Bakelite casing for insulation around the glass interior jug. I bought it just to draw it. Turned out to be my perfect ritual cocoa jug. I love my fancy little teacups, but when I make hot cocoa, I use my jug and my mug, and I keep it simple. I'll warm up drawing these, and then I'll do a teacup. I once had a coworker who, as an amusement, got it into her head that the two of us should write a mystery together on our breaks at work. She got a composition book, and we traded off writing passages. My partner in crime decided then that in our story, her supervisor in the adult department should murder my supervisor in the kids department. Each break, she and I would write some more and laugh ourselves silly at the foolish fun of creating such a daft story. I'm not a big coffee drinker, but at work coffee was always freely available. So I'd have a little bit of coffee and I'd scribble away. But then I began making hot cocoa to drink on my breaks. And after a week or so, my friend shook her head and said, "You're just going to have to go back to drinking coffee. You're edgy on coffee. You're just too nice on cocoa." Take from that what you will. All I'm saying is, consider the hot beverage you decide to go with. Maybe I'll try mocha. My jug got a big crack in it somehow, but I love it just the same. Very wabi-sabi, I told my husband. I've drawn it a few times. But as many times as I've drawn it, I don't think I've ever gotten it quite right. But that's okay. I think it'll make an excellent journal page. I think a lot of artists develop a sentimental attachment to their accoutrement, as it were. I'll make tea now. I'm starting off with a gray brush marker here. Another brown page has come up in my current sketch journal. So I'm going to use colored pencils this time. Colored pencils tend to be very soft and gentle looking. They're not quite as opaque as I'd maybe like, but I think it'll be fine. I'll throw in some micron ink pens, maybe white gel pens, maybe some other color gel pens. With these sketch journal pages, it's kind of fun to just wing it sometimes. Rainy days are perfect for this kind of exercise. I set up a spot, preferably by a window or a crackling fire. I lay out my creative tools, then I make a hot drink. The way it works is, I like to set it up picturesquely and admire it for a moment. I have a lot of teacups. My grandmother left me a bunch, and I'm determined to draw them all before I break them because I'm so clumsy. When I pour out my first cup, I like to sit and watch the steam. I like to inhale it, filling my lungs, and I like to take a moment to appreciate the sublime beauty of this moment on this earth. It's a good ritual to pull me into the mental place I want to cultivate. At that point, I can sit and look out the window at the park, listen for the birds, study the sky, and then I get to work. Take a moment and let yourself be inspired by your ritual. I have a Japanese friend who has an actual tea ceremony room. He has a beautiful little pot and a whisk and special green tea. He doesn't mess around. He does it just so. The instruments of the ritual can take on a sacred aspect. The actual tea ceremony is something that's usually done for multiple participants, and he's happy to host the traditional tea ceremony, but when he's by himself, he can reach a level that he claims pulls the creativity right out of his very bones. Interesting image. I told my friend that when I do my cocoa or tea break, one of the things I like to do is cultivate the ah. Whenever I set anything to rights, a little part of me sighs and says, ah, there, now that's right. So if I spill a drop of milk on the counter, I wipe it off and say, ah, there. So when I make the cocoa, I pour it into my cocoa pot, I set up my spot, and then I walk back, tidy up, so I can sit down and sigh and let the cocoa break do its job and help me put my mind into the right place to get done what I want to get done. It just about always works if circumstance allows me to go through the steps. Make the tea, set up the spot, do a quick pre-tidying, sit without rushing, breathe the steam, admire the tea set, soak up the surroundings, and then I draw and write. When it doesn't feel as if I can control much else in my life, I can still usually make a cup of tea and give myself a moment. It facilitates me setting aside all of the demands of being a caregiver and a teacher and a breadwinner and a dutiful family member and a community participant. It helps me let go of all the aggravation and the noise and just exist for a spell. I think one of the reasons that artists portray tea all the time is that when they use the tea practice to bring themselves to a deeper level and cultivate a creative frame of mind, and if they haven't got any specific plans on how to use that, they're likely to draw whatever is in front of them. And teapots and teacups, the whole shebang. Very cool looking. Definitely drawing worthy. So, make yourself a cuppa. Pull from that deep place. Soothe your soul. Ah. Thanks for joining me today, and I hope you come back for more Stuff and Nonsense with Ms. Julie.